Good. Okay. It's recording. Welcome, everyone. This is HeatherAsh Amara. We were so hoping we could Facebook Live this, but Zoom and Facebook are not playing right now, so we're sharing the recording with you later. I'm so happy to introduce you to my dear friend Ava Charlotte, who is going to be sharing with you about Stay Home, Come Home. And I'm so happy to have you on, honey, to share from your heart and your wisdom. And I know you all will fall in love with Ava just like I have. So welcome, sweetheart.
Thank you so much, dear HeatherAsh. So honored and happy to be here with you all, with you and everyone out there. Great. Pity we can't be live, but we'll try again.
Yes, definitely. We will try again. Good. So you are on whatever you want to share, sweetheart. I'm so excited to hear what you're going to offer to us.
Okay, we're rolling. So what I really wanted to just start off with is a quote from a man named Viktor Frankl. He was in the Nazi concentration camps and survived that, and has written many, many books about his realizations and awareness and expansion and awakenings from that atrocious experience. And this particular quote says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And I find that so incredibly appropriate for the time we're in. The world as we know it is spinning out of control. It already is out of control. From the point of view of the human mind that likes to see things in an understandable, repetitive way that feels safe. But were we ever in control? I find when I look at human behavior that most of us, we tend to try to arrange our external circumstances in a way that makes us feel safe. Everything around us, where we live, where we work, what we do, how we show up, how people see us, it's all arranged externally. We lay our external environment in a way that makes us feel what we want to feel. And for most humans, that's ultimately it's safety, survival. It's joy, happiness, validation, recognition, power for some, service for others, but it's all done through what we do, how we live, all the external things. And that's such an unpredictable way to live. There's nothing wrong with enjoying all those things, but relying on those for how we feel inside is a knowing game in the long run. Life will happen. Life is always, always moving, and we have no control over that as humans, as bodies, as minds. We can't control that. We can just respond to it. So when we put all the power in all these external things, and life happens like it just has now with this incredible pandemic of a potentially deadly virus, it will kill many, many humans. Everything falls apart because it's so reliant on that, the outer world. And there is another way to live. This whole external circumstances is living outside in. And if we instead can live inside out, everything changes. And it's possible. We're just not used to it. We're so oriented to look in the external world, and all the value is there. The self-value is in what I have achieved, or the titles I have, or how beautiful my wife is, or how many degrees my children have, like all that kind of stuff. And it's an illusion. It is total illusion. And now it's crumbling. And one of the main things that's coming up right now is our mortality. This virus can potentially kill any one of us. That's true for millions and millions of people all the time anyway, in developmental countries where there's disease or infectious water. They live with death very close all the time, or in the jungle with dangerous animals. They have a whole different relationship to death and mortality. But for us in the Western world, who live so protected and removed from nature, we never have to deal with that. And it only really comes up when it's right here in our family and someone gets sick or a parent dies or a child dies. Now it's everyone. This can potentially affect everyone, which makes it so in our face and such an opportunity to really look at that. Why is that such a big deal? Are we not going to die anyway? I'm not saying it's okay that millions of people are dying in this virus, of course not. But the fact that we are all going to die one day, if we can embrace that as the truth that it is, it's not like we all know it, we're going to die. And instead of ignoring that, bring it really close, bring it home. And now is a great time to do that, to have that opportunity, to really look at that. What does that mean for me? And how can I be with the fact that I will die? Everyone I love will die. Every relationship will end in one way or another. And one of them is that one of the people in the relationship will pass away. It's reality, it's life, it's part of being here. And it's actually really beautiful. And by facing that and stepping into it and having a relationship with your own death shifts everything. And I've been blessed in my own life to have to do that several times. I would say 3 main times. And the first time was in a skydiving accident where I ended up having to pull my reserve parachute. The second and last one, after that there is nothing else. I pulled my reserve, it came out, and then it broke. And when the reserve parachute breaks, there's nothing to do. I can't climb up back into the airplane. I can't call someone. There's absolutely nothing to do. You're just falling to imminent death. And as that was unfolding for me, there was nothing but terror, pure fear. My body knew I was about to die. And I was in complete resistance to that. This is not right. It can't be happening. No, and just fear, intense fear. And then something happened. And at that point in my life, it wasn't something I chose or had awareness around or did. It wasn't something I thought or felt or took any action to make happen, but it happened. The fear fell away, and I found myself in complete peace, grace, almost bliss. I was completely satisfied in the moment. There was nothing to change. I was still falling to my death. Nothing in my external circumstances changed, nothing. But something in me did. And that little shift changed everything in how I experienced this circumstance. Everything. All of a sudden, I was at peace, in acceptance of what was going on. And I was still falling. I was still falling to my death. But it was almost like the death of my physical body was irrelevant. I shifted my identification from the little human Eva, the persona, to what I really am, something much more vast. Some would call it spirit, some would call it consciousness, soul. That became my reality, and all was well. Obviously, I survived, and there's a whole story to that, and that's something for another day. But that particular little shift that happened, where I went from, no, I have to fix it, no, to complete surrender, and how that really, really completely changed how I experienced such an incredibly dramatic circumstance. And it's so relevant now, just because death is knocking on many, many, many humans' doors. Disease is spreading across the world, and all that is real. and it's terrible. And of course, we need to take all the action we can to deal with this as individuals and nations and globally, not negating any of that. I'm not diminishing it or being irresponsible around it. I'm just saying there's something else as well. There is something we can do internally as well as externally. As we're staying home, we have an opportunity to come home to ourselves. There's space for that now. I can even feel it in the air, just sitting here in this house and expanding out and feeling how presence, life itself is so much more accessible because there's not so much doing in the air, in the energy. So it's easy now. It's like the veil is much thinner. It's available to all of us if we sit down and take that time. In my skydiving accident, that happened to me. I had no clue in my life back then how to go to that place in me. It's not really a place, but shift my experience, my awareness to that. I do now. And part of that is being very, very present here in this moment. The tendency with something that's happening now that's pulling our attention all the time with this virus and information and misinformations and do this and do that and no and do, and oh my God, and why are they not following and they are following, and there's so much pulling information. And yes, stay informed the best we can in all of this. But beyond that is going beyond all of that and just finding yourself in the present moment, not as in where is this going to take me? Where is this going to take our country? Where is this going to take humanity? What's going to happen? Will I get sick? Will I die? What's going to happen to my kids? Of course, that's natural, completely natural. But practicing also coming back to this very moment, right here, right now. Is anyone sick right now? For many, the answer will be no. Okay, so what can I do right now? I'm taking all the precautions I can externally. What can I do here in this very moment? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. And where can I be with myself right now in this moment? And continuously bringing ourselves to the moment, present moment now. And it might sound so simple, but being in the now is releasing fear. Fear is so related to not wanting something to happen. And it could be related to the past because it did happen. I don't want it to happen again. In the moments, having awareness that it's not here right now in this moment, that fear can release and there's a space for something else to come. And if we give space to that something else, which really is the depth of our being, the essence of our being, peace is always present. Peace and joy and inspiration and clarity. The body relaxes, the mind becomes clear, and expansion happens. There's an opening and an expansion. That's a place where the body is the strongest to stay healthy. Immune system blossoms there. The word disease is not a coincidence. Dis-ease. There is no ease in disease. There's tension, there's resistance, there's frustration and fear and anger and all of that kind of stuff is so strongly connected to disease. So by doing the opposite of that consciously, we're giving ourselves medicine to stay healthy, to not attract this, to not let it infest in our lungs and bodies and bring out the actual illness in this present moment. It's so simple. It just takes the willingness and the discipline to actually do it. Sitting down, coming home here. We have a huge opportunity right now to do that. There's so much uncertainty and we don't want to be in uncertainty. As humans, we like to control, to know what's happened, and we can't. So looking at that, what can I control and what can I not control? Let go of all the things you can control. You can't control it. Let it be. Trying to control the uncontrollable is exhausting, drains you of all your energy, gets you frustrated, and here we're back to tense. No ease, disease. Let it go. If you cannot do anything about it, do your best to just let it be. Maybe a moment comes later on when you can do something. Great, do it. But right now, if you can't, let it go. And then look at what can you control. And like all the practical things we can do to stay safe now with physical distancing and washing our hands and all of that. Absolutely. But also here, what can I control here? And one thing that we as humans always have full control over is our own response. Many of us haven't practiced that, so we're running on auto response. We're not staying present in this moment. We're not consciously looking at how do I want to respond to this? And if we're not taking that, claiming that opportunity of I actually have a choice, and we're just letting it flow on its own, then the memory of the body and the mind will automatically respond for you. So everything you have ever experienced in your life, it's held in your being as imprints, as memories, consciously or unconsciously. So when something that can even remotely remind your body of something uncomfortable or potentially dangerous, the body will react. And being able to be aware of that, oh, I'm reacting here, I'm tensing, what's going on, looking at, is there really something happening right here, right now? Not potentially out there in the next moment, right here, right now. Is there anything happening right here, right now that I need to deal with? Most of the time, there isn't. It's just an automatic response from the past. And by looking at that and consciously making a decision to choose, okay, there is nothing dangerous happening right now. My mind might tell me there is, my body might tell me there is, but when I look at it consciously right here in this moment, there really isn't. Like most of us right now are safe at home. There's no imminent danger in this very moment. It's a potential danger, yes. And we're protecting ourselves from that. But there's no actual danger in this moment. I don't have to be in fight or flight. I don't have to be responding that way. I can choose something else. It takes awareness and being vigilant with ourselves, and looking at it. What is happening out there and right here, right now? And how do I want to respond to that? And what I found in my skydiving experience was that when my mind, my personality surrendered, accepted what is, there is nothing I can do here. My body's falling to the ground. There is nothing I can do. And I accepted that, not by choice. I didn't have that awareness, but it happened. And as I did that, my body relaxed, and I was focused on I could see some issues with some of the lines, and I was trying to solve that, not from any kind of fear at all. It was just, this is what's in front of me right now. There is this untangled lines, and I'm trying to untangle them. I had my attention on that, trying to do something with the lines. There was complete acceptance of what was happening and no fear. Not once after that shift had happened did my mind go to, oh my God, I might die. Not once. I was right in the moment trying to look at these lines. And because of that, because I was focused in the enjoyment of being consciousness of the expansionness I was feeling and the beauty of just seeing myself as more than being human. I was so engaged in that experience that the experience of falling to my death was not my experience. And because of that, my body was relaxed. So when I did hit the ground, that was part of why I also survived with no injuries. It's a whole long story of its own for another day. But I wasn't in dis-ease, I was in ease. And it made a huge difference for the outcome of that event. I'm not saying this is easy, but it's something to practice. And we have a fantastic opportunity, all of us right now. The hurricane is spinning around us intensely, and it's building and building and building and being swept out in that hurricane. We're being tossed and turned, we're banging into things, our own thoughts and emotions and fears, and the fear of not having enough money and losing our jobs and what's going to happen. And again, all of that is real. The hurricane is here and it's disrupting our lives, and there's huge consequences for many, many, many of us. And yes, we're going to have to deal with that. We are dealing with that the best we can in this moment. And again, you can deal with that from the center of the hurricane as opposed to being swept out in the hurricane. Practicing coming back. Yes, stay home, but come home. Come home. Find that moment right now. Work with accepting what is, as challenging as that is, when it's something as terrible as this. Still, accepting this is what is real. Resisting or rejecting or denying, none of that is going to help. It is happening. So how can I be with that? How can I be with the hurricane without becoming the hurricane? Coming back to this moment was real in this very moment. There's so many tools, so many practices, and multitude of teachers are bringing it out now with breath and yoga and meditation and counseling. And you know, if you feel you need help to find that space, reach out to whoever you feel aligned with. There's endless of people and tools out there. You don't have to do it alone, but you have to do it within yourself. No one can do that for you. There is no fix for this. And I really do find that is the invitation that's here for us now. It's not like we were not in trouble before this happened. We were just sort of ignoring it. Even this year, I looked at some numbers. So this year, 2020, 2.3 million people have died from hunger. 2.3 million people in 3 months. That's insane. And in the same time, 330 million tons of food has gone to waste. How is that even possible? We were already in big trouble. And how we're living this life in this treadmill of do, and be more, and better, and competing, and it's not sustainable. And I think many have felt that and known that, and it's overwhelming. And what can I do about it? And people are trying to do something about it, and it's this machine that we're all part of has been going and building. Something was about to happen. That's just something needed to happen. And in my own imagination, I would see that as, you know, catastrophes like earthquakes or tsunamis or things like that from nature, or World War III or something. And in comparison, I'm blown away at the brilliance of this. It's terrible, and it's terrible, but it's shifting everything. For the first time in human history, we're all home, or many of us are home, with an opportunity to actually come home. This running in this treadmill has stopped. There's an opportunity here right now to look at, so what are we doing? And why are we doing that? And what am I doing? And how am I living my life? And is this how I want to continue living my life? And how can I live it in a deeper, more connected way? How can I care for me and everyone else? How can this human life be a win-win for everyone? We have the resources. 330 million tons of food wasted when 2.3 million people died from lack of food, right? How can we do that differently? I don't have the answers. I don't know. But I do know that I feel a deep longing for us to live as one, caring for each other. And I find in my own experience of having come home, my skydiving accident was my wake-up call. It was really a sophisticated suicide attempt. I did not want to be here. I thought life was miserable, and I was highly successful and all of that, but running the treadmill, I'm good at it. I just hated it. And I couldn't find a way to live differently. And it's been a long road to do that. And having come home to a place where all of these external things, they matter and they're fun and all of that. But when I sink deeper into my being, instead of living on the surface of the ocean, being present in all of the ocean. I am the ocean being all of us. One drop in that ocean. And I can be the one drop that's splashing on the surface, just trying to hold my one drop or my little group of drops safe and all of this. Or I can be the ocean. I can be the one that holds this wave of something else. This desire for all of us to be deeply connected in what we really are. And that peace, that joy, that bliss, that inspiration, that caring, that compassion, that open expansiousness that we are. It's in all of us. It's not out there to find someplace. It's not something we lost. We just don't have our attention on it. We're so caught up in the treadmill and the doing that we forget about the being that's always present. And when that becomes more present in any one human being, everything changes, like it did for me with the skydiving accident and all the events that came from that. Trying to find my way, how can I live like that? If I can be falling to my death and be completely at peace, why would I ever worry about a stupid comment from someone, my perception stupid, or the loss of a relationship, or lack of money, and any of that? I know it's possible. I knew after that event that it's possible to live at the depth of my being, where peace is holding all of that. Life still happens, and the body will still feel fear, and like all the emotions are still valid. They come up. That's human. The human feels. Absolutely, there's fear and there's resistance and there's all of that, and the mind will have stories and desires and all kinds of ideas. But there's something else present that holds all of that. And when I hold my attention there, fear can arise in my being, which it has in these circumstances. Absolutely, my body has to coming up. But I'm not just my body, I'm all of this. So fear is arising there, and I can acknowledge that. Okay, so there's fear present now. Is there a reason for that? Yeah, in a way there is. There's danger out there, and it's chaotic and uncertain and all of that. Is there fear present right here? Is there danger present right here? No. And the fear is present, the danger isn't. And I can hold my fear like I would hold a fearful child. I can hold my own fear and say, it's okay to be afraid. That's okay. But we don't have to act from that. I know now how to bring myself back to the depth of my being and just relax and okay, it's okay. Take a deep breath and move back into my centeredness. And we all have that accessible. It takes practice and sometimes guidance. Some of the things I mentioned here today are key points. Practicing staying in the present moment. Whenever your mind runs into the future and all the potential dangers, acknowledge that. See if there's something you need to deal with right now. If not, what you can't control, let it go. Come back to here and now. What can you do right here, right now in this moment? And how can you bring yourself back to a place where your breathing slows down, your body relaxes, you feel yourself be more expanded and open. And those are different things. Sometimes it is working with your breath, taking some really deep breaths. Could be taking a bath, having a glass of wine, calling a friend, just don't go into the spin with your friend. Find that peace together. Find a what's okay in this? What can we do together in this? Where's the joy in this? Where's the deep connection that can be found? Find the good things. Like really putting your attention on that without thinking that you're being irresponsible or neglecting it just because you're doing your best to stay happy and peaceful. You're not. You can do both. It's possible to acknowledge the seriousness of this and still work with being in ease, because that keeps disease away. And that's always a choice. That is where our power lies, in how we respond to life. Life will always happen. We cannot control that. We can influence it, absolutely. We can control it, not as humans, not as individual humans. As spiritual beings, we have more impact. But ultimately, from the human perspective, your power lies here. How am I responding to this? How am I holding myself in this? How can I take a deep breath right now and sink from the spinning mind deeper into my body, becoming the ocean? Using your body, you can use the heart space as an anchoring point. Move your attention from your heart, from your head to your heart. Hold yourself there and just breathe. And if you really can do that, just hold yourself in your heart space, not in the head. You'll find that it really does help relax your body. It quiets your mind. Maybe not completely, but it doesn't matter. If you go from 60% fear to 40% fear, or even 55% fear, you're bringing peace to this planet because you're lowering the fear. And if millions of people do that together, we'll see some amazing changes happen. And this is such an opportunity. The brilliance, again, the brilliance of how this is orchestrated in a way where it's soft. It's not World War III. It's soft. It's terrible. I'm not negating that. But so many of us are safe in our homes. Yes, there are individual lives that are wrecked apart by illness and disease, and my heart goes out to them. And it might happen to me, it might happen to my loved ones, and I will deal with that if it does. But ultimately, right now, it's soft in comparison to what could unfold. And I personally believe that we are given or are creating an opportunity to shift now. We don't have to create even worse disasters to wake up. We can do it now together. And again, for the first time in humanity, we are united around something all over the world. When has that ever happened? I think there was a petition just recently in the UN for all wars to stop. Like, that's unheard of. That's amazing. So let's find that peace. here. Let's come home as individuals, each and every one of us, to the best of our ability. That might be a huge step for some people and tiny little ones for others. But as a community of humans, it will have tremendous impact. Tremendous. So yes, stay home, but come home.
Yay, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Ava. That was so much heart and simplicity and wisdom in so much of what you're sharing, and heartbreak as well.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's also beautiful.
Exactly.
I know it might sound very strange for some people, but it's like just sitting here now with you and saying that, my heart just swells with love and compassion and in a backward sort of way, joy, because this is such an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it. Like in my own personal journey of awakening, the times that have changed me the most are moments like this.
Yeah, I've been really feeling that of, you know, my heart will be like, oh, people are going to suffer. And then I'm like, people are already suffering. And I then go back to my own experience of like the biggest shifts in my life were the most painful sometimes. And so to not, you know, for me to trust the process and put prayers and support and love everywhere that I can, but also trust the larger process that each of us has the opportunity, like you're saying, to wake up and really come home in a new way.
Yeah. And of course, this is terrible in many ways. Even just staying home might be horrendous for some. If you have an abusive partner, oh my God, and you're forced to stay home.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. And at the same time, all what we just talked about can be applicable. You do what you can with, take action where you can, and if you can't, Lord, solace, rest, peace can always be found inside. And some of the most powerful leaders in our world has found their inner leadership, their own peace in crazy circumstances, like Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, Nelson, exactly.
Like 30 something plus years, and he found his peace there. And that's why he is the leader he is.
Yeah.
And we can all do that. We all have that. It's just a matter of finding it, like going there, taking the time and the willingness and the focus to go there. Usually we're so distracted by everything around us, our attention is on the world, and now we have time to have attention here.
Yes, so true. So
I personally think it's, sorry, cutting you off, but I just was thinking of this whole, how the world has been put on pause, and there's so much push, especially in the Western world now, to utilize this, and how can I leverage it, and what can I create now, and we're just stepping into a different treadmill and keep running. Absolutely, we're free will, everyone can make their own choices. But the pause is important. It's an opportunity. Take the pause. You can still do things, but enjoy the pause. Take advantage of this pause. Out there and in here. Just pause right now. Pause. Pause. And it's disturbing when you're used to running. And being still, it can be really disturbing. All of a sudden, all the stuff that we're avoiding feeling becomes very apparent when we're still. And then we want to distract ourselves and keep running so we don't have to feel it. And that's why the world looks the way it does. We have to feel it.
Yeah. And going through You know, as I'm always sharing, like learning how to feel your feelings separate from the story, and to really be in relationship with your body and with the experience and go through to the other side. There's so much stillness and peace and joy, as you're talking about.
Yes.
There is another side. And I think, you know, most of us, the fear is I'll never get through, or we go partway through and then we pull ourselves back. Or the story is keeping us cycling rather than able to travel. So there is a way to go all the way to the other side.
There is. And depending on what life stories we have already lived, what's been held is this all, it's different. Every individual is different. And of course, when you start going inside and all the things you're trying to avoid are all of a sudden it's there and you feel it and it's spinning in your thinking and all you want to do is get away from it. I've been there many times, layer by layer. Find a layer like that and oh no, I'm not going there. And then I know I have to go through it. So I'll come back to it and eventually work my way through it. And then there's this expansion and light on the other side. And then there's another layer. And some of those layers are easy and others are not. And that's true for all of us. And again, that's just life. Right? Life is all the emotions and becoming unafraid of being with all that is.
Yeah.
Embracing that.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is.
And knowing you don't have to do it all at once.
Yes.
And that it's a journey and you keep getting more comfortable with the discomfort.
Yeah.
And realizing there is so much joy on the other side. So yeah, we could talk forever. There's so much to share. And so let's definitely plan for next week and hold that Facebook will let us do it live so we can interact with people as well.
Great.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining and bringing your gifts. Mwah.
Love you very much.
Love you too.
And all of you out there.
Yes. And I'll put on the Facebook post, but you can reach Ava at you're Ava Charlotte, right? .com?
Yes. Yep.
AvaCharlotte.com.
I'm actually right now, yes, evacharlotte.com. I'm right now during this time, I've decided to offer all my services as a pay if and what you can donation. If I can support any one of you out there in this time, I know it's difficult and I've been blessed to walk this path ahead of time, I guess. So it's not scaring me. So if I can be there for anyone else, I'm here.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll put all your info on the Facebook page and more next week.